In today's video, it's Dreamlog Part 6. Oh yeah, baby. Let's get started. So, this first one is very long. I vaguely remember it, but it's very, very scratchy in my head. So, in this dream, I stated that I went to a school with some old rooms and a basement where a blind lady tried to fetch Part 4 JoJo manga and failed. My roommate was there too. We both did not get real Part 4 books, instead, we got fake ones. I then ran to go get the book myself, but had to run through a battle royale scene. I ate blue speed peppers and rushed into a library where there was a long cubby to get these books, but none of them were there. There was a father and son talking, so I left to the outdoor area and still no success. I headed back with a giant camera and began to take quality photos of Valkyrie as she flew through the air. I then reached a building and had to fight a bit for myself. It was then that I realized that I was an assassin and was killing a man by wrapping a belt around his neck and choking him to death. He eventually bore a seagull's face, and I watched him die. Eventually, I let go of the belt, but he had already squirmed and died. I was disturbed. It was a very weird context, but I know that this library was like embedded into a wall of rock. Like it was on the side of a cliff, and the rock color was a lavenderish, purpley kind of rock. No clue what it was, but obviously it's a dream. It's not supposed to make sense. In this dream, I had an actual date night with this one girl I was talking to. I was then in a bar in a winter like area, and Always Slightly Sleepy walks in and takes a seat with me while friends and family are with me. We're at a pool jumping off a diving board with friends as well. Now, I just thought this one was fun to talk about because Always Slightly Sleepy made an appearance. One of my favorite ASMR YouTubers and probably one of the most consistent people I watch. Her videos are amazing. I have an internet crush on her. I'll admit, I'll admit, she puts me to sleep. Obviously, it's her purpose to make videos to make people fall asleep, but I freaking love her videos. I love her content. The bits and pieces of her personality that she puts into her videos makes her a very relatable person, and I find that there are some things in common with her. So, she's a very cool person. I haven't ever talked to her in person, but I always leave her some comments in her videos every once in a while, and she takes notice of them. But that's not any special treatment at all because she kind of does it with most people's comments. So, continuing on, this stream was to somebody, and this was someone I used to work with for a while. And I stated that I had a dream where we were in a library building a display out of Legos, and I tagged along with you. I'd asked something to which you replied with you having to do something with a friend, and in response, I just got like 4 inches up to your face, and I started staring into your eyes. They were a nice dark brown. You looked baffled, which was kind of expected. Then, after a while, a Mexican guy around our age with a lisp showed up to help, as well as a lady who ran the place. It was pretty cool. I, for some reason, was sitting in the middle of the table the entire time. Before that, I was in a village with the sun setting, but I didn't know what I was supposed to do. Again, that was. It's weird how distinct I can make these dreams to be because who would have thought that I would remember that the person in my dream was a Mexican guy with a lisp? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I just made these things just come to me, you know? This next dream, I was helping a girl with something who lives in a giant wood workshop, and at about the age of 18, her mother had died. I was part of some bandit group, and she had to reverse time in order to set something right. I still remember the previous time. So it was kind of like a Groundhog's Day thing, or if you're a JoJo fan, it's like Mandem, but longer than 6 seconds. So It's very interesting. Again, these small tidbits. Don't know why I decided to end the story arc of her mother died when she was 18, but it's there. This next dream goes out to one of my friends. I totally forgot I had this dream, and when I read it, I was like, oh, thank God I never told you. So, get this. I was in a shopping area with your girlfriend, your ex, I guess, at the time. At the time, she was your girlfriend. Now she's your ex. And she was kind of crazy and started hitting on me with no regard to your existence. I then stumbled into an alley with a saw-like premise, but managed to escape in time. I then headed somewhere to eat with my friends, but by the time I had to head out, it was already 5:15 p.m. and I was just starting to miss class. I tried to make up for the missed class but failed. I forgot the rest of the dream. This next dream, I read it and was like, "Oh, this is gold. I have to read this one." I don't remember exactly much of it, but you just I'll just start. So I went to visit a pair of grandparents, and while I went to go visit a shop, I forgot something and went back to their guest house. I then realized something was off and found the grandpa dead. I then was able to conclude that it was the grandma who did it. When I went to go confront the grandma about it, she was initially worried about everyone hearing about it until she used her stand ability on me. For which, those of you who don't know, stands are kind of like superpowers. They're the main power system in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. This ability allowed for people who found out that she was a murderer to almost disappear from reality by having other people not take much notice of the person affected. I tried to scream at my mother saying how she was the murderer, but she just kind of shrugged it off like it was nothing. I then got into a fight with the grandma while playing cards, and we tried to stab each other with glass shards. I stabbed her so much, but she didn't bleed. I got cut myself, but tried using it as evidence to tell people how she's the killer, but no one really listened due to her ability. While we were still stabbing each other, I found out that the grandma was actually the grandpa in disguise, and he had swapped appearances with the grandma when he killed her. I then woke up. What a plot twist, am I right? Like, it wasn't actually the grandpa that was murdered, it was the grandma, and he was using her skin as a costume. Which reminds me of a McQueen meme where he's like, hey, have you ever tried peeling your skin off before? You should do it. Something like that. Let's see, what else do we got here? Okay, this one is unexpected. An autistic kid and his friends were in a hotel room that I was also in. I forgot something, and the kid goes crazy, holding a gun to the back of my head. I throw the kid out the window, but when I leave, I notice he's standing around the corner in a dark room. Like, how foreboding is that? Oh my gosh. Oh, this one's one sentence. It says, got lost in France for a third time. This time I was with my family. For those of you who don't know, I have this reoccurring dream where I get lost in the airport of France. Have I been there before? Yes, but in my dreams, it's completely different, like layout, architecture, and everything, and I just get lost. I don't know why. I have no clue why it's France. It probably is because of the whole primitive, like, I'm in a new area, I have no clue where I am kind of deal, because I did go to France last summer. So, God, it just keeps coming back. It never fails. This one I remember as well. So this dream begins with me kind of being in Apex, I guess. Like I was imagining myself like climbing over some rocks that are in Kings Canyon, but eventually jump off a really high cliff and kind of glide down, and I glide off into this road that I see, and my dad's driving the car that is on this road, and so I land on top of it and I join him for a car ride. and this car is in England for some reason. But we end up arriving in Italy then with my dad and two Filipino cousins, which I have zero of that at least I'm aware of. And there was this woman that couldn't believe I voted for a certain candidate, that she tried to annoy me by blaring music. She then caught my little boy cousin off guard and chased him into our room. Tried to hold fort, but she broke down the door and shot my upper right chest. I grabbed a kitchen knife and stabbed her with it a couple times. She shot my lower torso this time and screams, "See you in hell," before pulling the trigger on herself. I back off and try to pull my phone out to make a goodbye message to my family before I die. I don't know if I did. And what's funny is when I awoke from this dream, I still was able to feel the exact spots where I got shot. I believe one was like right here, and then the other one was in. Let me get up. The other one was like right here. I think I had three. I think it was like two bullets right here and one up here. All right. That dream was very off-putting, and I know who the person was that was trying to kill me. She is the one I shall not name or speak of. I'll leave it at that. Anyhow, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you guys enjoyed these wild, wacky dreams, and maybe they give you some sort of creative spasm. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.